Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Superstars of Wrestling Review Series. And this is the August 29th, mere days, 2 days before SummerSlam 1992 edition. And Ric Flair and Joey Maggs kind of start us off in a enhancement talent match. Just weird for me to imagine Flair in an enhancement match with a guy like Joey Maggs, especially on the heels of SummerSlam. Flair not a part of SummerSlam other than in the I guess managerial slash interference role. And I mean, taking a shoulder block and doing leapfrogs and taking a drop kick from Joey Maggs, just I don't know. Flair at times, and I think that during the end of this WWF run, because he's gone by the end of January of '93, so he's gone in about 5 months from now. I don't know. He just strikes me as a guy who's a little bit too giving, and this type of match shows that. I don't nothing against Joey Maggs himself or anything like that, but certainly Flair selling for and being on the heels of a guy like this is unnecessary. Maggs does do a heck of a sales job. Flair does strut around a bit. Big vertical suplex hanging style by Flair, and he does lock in the figure four, get the victory, but it's just weird. Then they do the only type of highlight packages I really like, and that is where they do several weeks worth of storylines with the voiceovers by the Ultimate Warrior. Basically, Warrior says that Hennig has been in Savage's back pocket the whole time. Savage orchestrated the beat up by Perfect and Hennig the a few weeks ago when they were face to face. Savage basically says the same thing. Both of them call each other egomaniacs in their respective interviews. They said that it's each other's respective fault. So Warrior blames Savage, Savage blames Warrior for their miscommunication in the match with the Nasty Boys just a few days before. Really brilliantly done stuff. I didn't do it terrible justice because I don't believe in recapping word for word promos. If you want that, go watch them. But this is how you do a highlight package. This is how you do a review series when it's several weeks. You don't need weekly, recaps. If people aren't watching, it's because you're not giving them something they want. And by giving them, 2, 3, 4 video packages in a 2-hour show, what you're saying is you don't have to watch the show week to week. You can just catch up through the repackages. But when you have a major pay-per-view every 3-4 months and you want to do a package, I'm in favor of that for new fans because that makes sense. You're giving them a Reader's Digest version of what they missed in over a great length of time. So there's like, hey, I missed this whole build to this thing. Anyway, Tatanka in there with Pat Rose, and I mean he's doing body slams, chops, and arm drags. Rose goes to the outside. Tatanka continues to work the arm before going for a backdrop. And Tatanka kind of going back to the arm a little too much here. Tatanka's supposed to face the Berserker at SummerSlam again. That match does happen, but is not part of the SummerSlam pay-per-view broadcast. They eventually use it for primetime or another syndicated show because the footage does exist, as does the Crush Repo Man match. And again, body slams by Tatanka. Tatanka really does own this guy and goes to the top rope, hits the top rope chop, and then the Samoan drop for the victory. We go to the Event Center promos, kind of final hype for Rick Martel in his match with Shawn Michaels. Basically says he's too pretty, doesn't deserve to get hit in the face. Michaels will get disqualified if he hits him in the face, etc. and so forth. Wearing the big pin, I am the model, carrying the pink arrogance, and certainly a big deal. Still wearing the eagle feathers from Tatanka too, so that feud not really over. And then Crush in there basically says he's going to annihilate the Repo Man, get rid of him once and for all. Kamala and Jeff Daniels. Daniels did a good job for somebody in an enhancement match earlier in one of our episodes, and obviously still does so here. Obviously, less he can do for Kamala. Kamala, of course, mere days away from his match with The Undertaker, in that this is where the hearse comes into play. Harvey Whippleman does an inset here. He talks about being upset about the use of mind games by The Undertaker. Top rope stun gun type maneuver and back kick by Kamala. Obviously, Kamala is super ready to be, I don't know that I would say done with the match, but, choking the man out, doing everything he can to look as athletic but menacing as possible. Kamala hits the splash, then goes to the top rope, says he's going to hit a top rope splash. Kemchi and Harvey Whippleman have to talk the man down, which is a little challenging as one can imagine. We go back to the event center for Nails and Money Inc. promos. Money Inc. again kind of a little upset about being in this particular match, not being in a tag team match. They reiterate it's not a tag team championship match. They're not particularly happy with that. And Nails talks about beating up Virgil and thinking he was his boss man or whatever the case may be. It's kind of clunky there. Anyway, we move to Bret Hart and Louis Spicolli. Louis Spicolli, who, as mentioned in a previous episode, one of the few Americans, I think there's maybe half a dozen, on the Lucha Libre pay-per-view about 2.25 years later. Spicolli, as Madonna's boyfriend, also comes back to the WWF a few years later, 95, as Rad Radford, but enhancement work here for him with Bret Hart, the Intercontinental Champion, mere days before his match with the Bulldog here, and inverted atomic drop by Hart. Hart with a hard punch and goes for the headlock. Bret, for all it's worth, and I'm more a Shawn Michaels fan than I am a Bret Hart fan, always have been, but Bret makes every move count. Bret does hit a atomic drop, inverted style, and then a hard clothesline. Drags Spicolli to the middle of the ring, and he hits a kick to the midsection / groin area. Bret promises to win, hold on to the Intercontinental Championship. Hits a Russian leg sweep, hits a leg drop, and gives Spicolli a bit more generally than he normally would. Goes for the Russian leg sweep, hits that, and manages to smash down on the back of the neck with an elbow drop. I think a lot of this has to do, giving Spicolli more, has 2 points. Shows Bret Hart's ability to wrestle a bit more than normal. Bret's usually had shorter squash matches here. And secondly, Spicolli's a guy who can do a lot more, so he's given more. Anyway, Bret locks in the sharpshooter, gets the victory here. Mere days before, many would say, one of the better matches of his career. SummerSlam report, Undertaker promises to make Kamala rest in peace. LOD promises to deal with the greed of Money Incorporated. And then we go back to Justin Taylor versus Rick Martel. Taylor, relative unknown, does have a sparkling jacket, so maybe he's doing enhancement work here, but supplementing it with independent work somewhere else. He bumps around for Rick Martel a bit, and Martel leapfrog, drop kick, and drop toe hold, goes back over, floats into the arm. You got to remember, Rick Martel, although not a big deal here, former AWA champion, former WWF Tag Team champion, and was a big deal at a point, actually inside Cradle, by Taylor, who is no relation, I do not believe, to Scott Taylor, otherwise known as Scotty 2 Hottie. Backbreaker by Martel, and Martel goes for and hooks in the Boston Crab, gets a submission victory. Event Center closing as the Repo Man challenges or talks about challenging Crush in a few days. Basically says he's going to take care of Crush and crush his dreams once and for all. Natural Disasters say they are going to eliminate the Beverly Brothers, and that closes us for August of 1992 here on Superstars. We'll be back with more right after this.